here's another random video. If you've been following me on Twitter for a long while, you may know that I have quite the hyperfixation on Madomonogatari Monogatari for the Sega Saturn. If you're unsure of what that game is, it's an unlocalized JRPG released exclusively by Compile for the Sega Saturn in 1998, making it quite a late release for the console. Its development is very poorly documented online in English. However, I've been able to find out over the past 2 years that the game had a troubled development cycle and was scaled back from what was originally planned. This video is just something I wanted to make to help document all the pre-release material we do have access to not only help spread awareness of this game, but also because I'm not sure if anyone else will end up making a video like this. Anyways, there's actually a few promotional videos to cover in this. All of them contain beta footage and parts of the animated intro. I'll play each of them and then do an analysis of what's in them, and outline the stuff that was cut or changed from the final game. Before I begin the first one, I want to say this one was graciously preserved by Tony from Hard for Games, a name you may recognize if you watched my previous video. Anyways, without further ado, here's the first promotional video. Well, that was a lot. Getting right into this, the first thing you may have noticed was the music track playing in the background. The name of this track is I Hate You, which is sung by a guy called Tanaka Katsumi, who provided vocal themes for various other Puyo Puyo games, such as the Saturn version of Puyo 2. The first half of this video showcases the animated intro for this game, which highlights some of the playable characters, those being Arul, Rulu, Minotauros, and Chezo. The animation was done in-house at Compile by an internal animation studio they had named Studio Carbuncle. I love the logo they have. For whatever reason, however, this animated intro isn't actually present in the final game. Anyways, after the animated segment, actual gameplay is now shown off. There's quite a bit of text in this segment, so I went ahead and translated all of the overworld dialogue and one of the battle screenshots for your convenience. Anyways, the first clip shows off the map overworld. It features Arl being able to walk over to whatever location you need to, which is very different to the map in the final game, which is just a pick your location and press go sort of deal. This map in this video, however, does resemble the map overworld in the prologue to the final game, and adding on to that, as you can see when the next clip starts of the actual game overworld, this game overworld is also reminiscent of the prologue's game overworld too. For whatever reason, Lagnus' prologue in the final version of Muddle of Saturn features a completely different map system and overworld that's used in the rest of the game. My theory is that the prologue's overworlds are the remnants of the prototype version's overworlds. As I was suggesting just before, the overworld is pretty different from the final game, lacking the isometric camera and character portraits. During this overworld gameplay, we see a cut segment of Carbuncle almost being crushed by a boulder and Arl saving him, Rulu punching Minotauros, Shezo muddling his words in front of Arl, Satan admiring Carbuncle, Skeleton T talking to Arl finding Nasu Grave, which is interesting since Nasu Grave is nowhere to be seen whatsoever in the final version, and Arl solving a Puyo-themed puzzle. After this, the battle footage begins, which shows some interesting stuff. Firstly, the battle HUD is completely different to that of the final game, featuring character mugs of the party members. The battle sprites for the party members here also seem to have differences from their final sprites, too. The first battle shown is a 3v3 of Arl, Rulu and Shezo battling Witch, Draco and Kikimora. In the final game, Witch and Draco aren't ever battled, and are instead only party members. Draco also interestingly has her normal Puyo design here, rather than the one created for Muddle Saturn, which suggests they hadn't made that design yet. Which, however, does seem to have her Muddle Saturn design here. After that, the camera begins to zoom out and we see even more battles, but it gets a little bit more difficult to make out what's going on. In one of them we can see a battle against Satan, another we can see a battle against some Puyos, another we can see a battle against Harpy, and in another we can see a battle with Witch again. The camera then zooms out again, showing even more battle footage, showcasing a battle against some of the violent monkey enemies, a battle with some weird orange thing I don't recognize, and hey, look at that, looks like young Lagnus is present there in battle. Young Lagnus was completely cut as a playable character from the final game, so this is interesting to see. For whatever reason, this clip in particular then cuts to a battle against Sukiya Potes. We see a battle against a couple of samurai moles, and interestingly, Arl is not present at all in this battle, which is noteworthy since in the final game, not counting the prologue where you control only Lagnus, there's never a segment where you have Rulu as your lead, and not Arl instead. We see a battle against some Mandarake and a lizard man, a battle against a bunch of samurai moles, a battle against Nasu Grave, who as I mentioned before, was nowhere to be seen in the final game, a battle against some more Mandarake and a cockatrice, and a battle against some living dolls. The screen then goes back to normal and shows this knight enemy with an axe in battle, who I don't recognize as being present in the final game. Then there's a shot of Satan's tower, and that's the end of the tape then. Damn, there was a lot there. Anyways, on to the next one.
魔導物語ぷよぷよのルーツ、あの魔導物語が熱烈なユーザーの要望に応えてついにセガサターンによみがえる。メガドライブ、ゲームギアなどで大人気だったファンタジー RPG の復活。登場キャラクターたちはぷよぷよシリーズでもおなじみだが、元はといえばこの魔導物語のキャラクターだった。アールやカーバンクルが魔導学校を目指して大暴れする。 セガサターン版魔導物語ではついにパーティーが組めるようになった。アルル、ルルー、シェゾが協力して敵に立ち向かう。世界は 2D フィールドを基本とし、人間と魔物が共存するちょっと不思議な魔導ワールド。ファンタジーあふれる世界が小さなお子様から大人まで楽しめる。魔導物語。
Well, this one didn't have many new things, but there were definitely some things of note in that. Sadly, I can't understand what the narrator is saying, but I can make out some parts of it, such as mentioning Arl, Rulu, and Shezo all being playable, and that the series also has entries on the Game Gear and Mega Drive. Anyways, most of the clips featured are extended from the versions shown in the other video. You see a longer segment of Arl walking on the map overworld, and it shows the cutscene of her looking at the tower as connected to that. We see a new battle clip of the ARS trio battling against this strange sand golem creature. Take note how they've completely changed Shezo's victory sprite in the final version of the game. We get a better look at the Satan boss fight too. One thing of note is that Shezo uses an attack which translates to Blizzard here, which isn't a move he has in the final game. Satan also seemed to make an attack here that isn't present in the final game. DeepL seems to struggle with translating this one, but it seems to be something along the lines of a sneak attack. After that, a scheduled release date is said to be December 1997. The game didn't end up coming out then, which indicates that the game obviously was delayed at some point in its development. Now, there wasn't too much new stuff in that video, but I think the next one will be just a little bit more exciting. That one was interesting. Getting right into it, the music that plays in the background of this one is an early rendition of Lagnus's theme, interestingly enough. I'd love to see someone attempt to do a restoration of it someday. For comparison, the music playing in the background while I'm talking right now is the final version of Lagnus's theme. Anyways, a bunch of neat concept art of some of the characters are shown, and look, some gameplay footage that wasn't in the first or second trailer. There's a bit where Arl speaks to her mother, which I've went ahead and translated the dialogue for. After that, we see Arl walking through a forest area on the map that we don't see in either of the other trailers, and some more extended battle footage, including this interesting animation that Witch, Draco and Kikimora all do together. And then, there it is, our best look at the cut playable young Lagnus in-game, performing his light/attack on a Mandarake. There's even more extended battle footage of some of the other battles shown in the other trailers, and that's it basically. However, there is a 1998 release date mentioned here, so obviously in between the trailer I showed before this and this one, the game had been delayed. Anyways, that's the last Madomonogatari Saturn trailer I know of that showcases footage of the prototype version. But that doesn't conclude all the pre-release material we do have access to. There's some magazine scans for me to quickly acknowledge. Here's this one from an issue of Saturn Fan magazine. Being from a magazine and not from a VHS tape, the quality here of the screenshots lets us better appreciate the sprite work in the game here. If you look at this screenshot, you can see that your party members on the map overworld would tag along behind you, as can be seen with Rulu and Shezo following behind Arl here. On the other page, we can also see a battle with some ninjas, which I don't believe were in any of the trailers. There's also these scans, which show some more of the locations in-game. The concept art is super nice, and you can really get a feel for the game's world through this map. And that's about it. There's probably tons of neat info in those magazine scans, so it'd be nice to see them be translated, but knowing how things are with this game, I'll probably have to do it myself sometime. Now, there's one important question to ask. Will this pre-release ever be found? Well, since Compile went out of business years ago, and Sega themselves supposedly don't have the best track record of preserving Sega Saturn content, it doesn't look good, to be honest. On a lighter note, it's possible that a recreation of this build could be made, considering we do have the actual final game, at least. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. It's just been one I wanted to make for the sake of documenting all this stuff about Macro Saturn that no one else has ever bothered documenting before. See you next time.